Hi guys, welcome back to my rescue Aveo. Today we're going to start working on tearing out that transmission. I don't know how far we're going to get to today. I got about an hour worth of sunlight left. I might do a little more tonight with some lighting. So let's get started and see how far we can get. Definitely need to get that transmission drained. The cooling line for that goes to the radiator. Try to get that off and let that drain for a little while before I do too much with it. So let's get started and see how far we can get today. And here she is. Motor's out, nothing in the way. This should be a pretty simple pull in that transmission. Looks like she's sitting a little low. We're gonna start by taking the tires off, getting this on jack stands, then probably get something on that transmission, get a little straighter. Might be a little easier to take everything off with it sitting a little more flush. All right, well, let's get started. So taking this guy out here, it was barely attached. These bolts were not tight. There was absolutely nothing holding this on. So that could have been part of his problem, but I doubt it. So we're going to keep going here. We're going to start draining the fluid on the transmission, or in the transmission cooler lines. I'll get these taken off down here and let it drain for a while, and see where we're going to go from there. Awesome. We're going to let that drip for a little while, and gonna let it clean itself out. Hopefully it stops dripping after a while, and we'll get back to it. Maybe drain the transmission. Right here, I've got the drain bolt on the transmission. That'll make that a little bit nicer. It's nice not to have to take that pan all the way off. So we'll do that. We'll drain the transmission, and then we'll just keep rocking and rolling. Let's get to it. Yeah, it's coming out pretty black. Holy cow. That's not even red. Could have seen that from the oil lines, but that really shows you how bad that was. Holy cow. Let's see if my little can will hold it all. And it's probably not going to. Come on, come on, you can do it. Getting a little too full now. We'll switch that out, get something else underneath here, and finish draining it. There we go. Bigger's always better, right? Alright. Let's drain the rest of this out. So, such a beautiful color. I love black. Here, but yeah, I'm gonna jack the front of that transmission up a little bit, get some of that from the front end. My little jack in there. Yep. It's a little bit better. I'm not going to worry about draining it out completely, because I am taking it apart anyway, and it's going to get messy no matter what I do. So we'll just drain it out a little bit and go from there. And just how dirty and nasty that oil was, transmission fluid. I mean, that's like a mirror. I mean, you can see my tree, top of the garage is pretty bad. Stick my finger in there, just yeah. Looks like motor oil more than anything. That's not good. Alright, let's go ahead and pull that torque converter out, and we'll drain it out a little bit. Kind of get her out of the way too. If she has anything. And she's not all that bad. Okay, never mind. Guess we'll just pull her out. Here, let's take I'm gonna turn the camera around here. Now we're gonna look inside of the torque converter. Main thing I'm looking for is all them grooves. If all them grooves look good, they don't look worn, nothing about those grooves look bad. So with that being said, I'm gonna assume the torque converter is good, and we're not gonna replace that. Actually, it looks really good for being that many miles. With that link being that loose, I'm pretty sure they did some work to the transmission. I'm not sure how far they got into it, but I guess we'll figure it out as we go. All right, so we're back out here. It's nighttime, and it's a little chillier. Got a couple extra layers on. Got my beanie on. Gonna stay a little warmer. Let's try to get this transmission pulled out tonight. So, got tools. We're gonna start with the CV axles, or half shafts if you're old time, and I'm gonna try to take out this transmission. So I need to take the CV axle nut out. You can see how it's indented there. So I'm gonna start by getting that dent out of that, and then I'll start removing that nut, and then we should be able to slide the whole thing out. Hopefully it goes as smooth as that. got all the CV axles popped out from the transmission. Now we're just going to work on this last long one here on the passenger side. Get her out of the way, and then we'll be really close to taking this out. Woo! If you're going to remove the CV axle, on a lot of cars, some cars just slide right out. This one was more of a pop out. Got a little clamp in there that holds it inside that transmission. So if you're going to take it out, find something, crowbar, kind of pop on it. You need that popping. So kind of push it back to where it's against the transmission and kind of, pop it. If you got a little more room like I did with the longer shaft on the passenger side without the motor in the way, I could take it out pretty quickly. So hopefully a little help for you guys if we're going to remove them CV axles. Also, since my motor's out, makes my job 10 times easier. My motor was not out. Then this guy right here would have to come apart. So I can slide that out and pull that down and out of the way so that CV axle could actually slide out. But since I ain't got no engine and a lot more playroom, technically I ain't got to worry about it. So, yeah, woo! Makes my life a little easier. Woohoo! We got the CV axles out. Some of you may not agree with the way I took them out, but I got them out. So, only problem is when I put it back together, I won't be able to do it the same way I took it out. I'm going to have to take that stuff apart so the sides will get a little easier. Might get some new CV axles anyway, so I really didn't care too much about those. The brand new ones, I'm not going to treat them like that. That'd be a little crazy if I did. Probably doing some damage in there. So, I think we're going to go ahead and remove some of the wiring. We're getting closer to being able to pull that out. Once I get all the wiring disconnected, I think I got a couple bolts left and she'll pop right loose. So, we're almost there. Woohoo! All the wires are loosened up. We are ready to start loosening up some of them bolts. Maybe 2, 3. We'll have this thing out. So we are almost there. I am very excited about that. So, all right, let's loosen up some of those bolts. Let's get this puppy out. All right, here we go. Wires out. Cup these bolts up in here. See, sorry. Should pop right out. And we'll get her out. Woo! We'll start working on those bolts there. You know, my camera angle isn't the greatest. I don't have an expensive camera. I am using my phone. So, have to bear with me on that. Alright. We got the hoist hooked up. We got the chain on. I'm trying to make this fast because my battery on my phone's dying. So I'm going to do what I can here, and we're going to try to get this out so you guys can actually see the process, since I didn't even do that with the motor. So let's get started. Bada bing, bada boom. We got the transmission out. I'm so happy. Look at it. Even she's excited. Got her out. It wasn't too bad. I didn't have to use the engine hoist to actually pull her out. I could have done it by hand, but bro, I ain't 20 anymore. My back says you better use something else. Maybe 80, 100 pounds. So it ain't too heavy. If you had to, you could do it by hand if you're pulling it out of the engine bay. If you're gonna put it underneath the car, a little more of a pain in the ass. You gotta lift the car a little bit higher. So thankfully the engine was already out. This made this job so much easier. So yeah, woohoo! Transmission out. So the next video we'll probably end up tearing into the transmission. We're gonna start rebuilding this thing and definitely cleaning her up because she's actually really nasty and really dirty. Hang on. Let's get the garage light on again. Okay, all right, there we go. You can see a little better. You can see she's pretty dirty. So we're gonna clean her up, get her all nice and shiny, get her rebuilt, put back together. We're not gonna rebuild everything on it. Obviously, I'm not really too comfortable with the throttle body, or it's got a lot of little balls in there, a lot of little springs. I don't want to mess with that. But we are gonna replace some of the clutches and all that stuff inside this thing. Hopefully, it'll run a little bit better. And should have acted when I'm done. Haven't fully decided on that, but we'll figure that out here. So, woohoo! It's out. And also, for my next video too, I have a starter replace on my son's 2004 Chevy Avalanche. I might post that on here. I'm not sure. Just stay tuned, and we'll get the next video posted. And yeah, we'll have some more fun with this guy. get this Aveo up and going. Woohoo! Thanks for joining us, guys. Just a couple quick side notes. I know I said throttle body. I meant valve body. Yeah, definitely a lot of little balls in there. I do not want to mess with. If I have to, I can. I'd rather not have to, though. I'll know more when I tear into it to see if I have to. Hopefully I don't. And then another side note. I know you guys were watching me use my Ryobi Impact, and you heard and watched it kind of struggle a little bit. My main problem is I'm not using the right battery. This is the battery for my drill. That's not the battery for the Impact. The battery for this guy is actually at my house, other house, we're trying to repair, using that for my saw. So it didn't have the right battery, so it kind of struggled a little bit with a smaller battery. It doesn't have as much power. I believe this is a 2 AH. 1.3 AH. Never mind. The one that's meant for this thing is a 4 AH. It's definitely a lot stronger, so it didn't perform as well as it would have with the right battery. So that being said, woohoo! Transmission is out. You guys just stay tuned, and hopefully we'll get this car done soon. My time is crunching, so you're going to see a few more videos coming up here a lot quicker, a lot sooner. I'm down to like 2 months, so I need to get cracking. Thankfully, transmission's out. This is one of the bigger headaches I wanted to get done. I know I got the motor just sitting there. I said I was going to tear into it, but the transmission has to be done and put back in before the motor can even get back in anyway. So I figured I'd get started on this thing and get it out of here. Yeah. Hope you guys have a great day. Thanks for joining.